De'Aaron Fox is finally back for the Spurs, and it just felt different immediately. Everything changed for San Antonio offensively. They looked organized again, the tempo made sense, and for the first time all season, it felt like they had a real closer. Pair that with the 7th best defensive rating in basketball, a legitimate MVP candidate with Victor Wembanyama, and this addition of a true go-get-a-bucket scorer in a pinch might be exactly what San Antonio needs to take the next step. De'Aaron Fox did not skip a beat. After missing the first stretch of the season, he came back and had 24 points on 9 of 14 shooting, with 3 assists and a steal in 30 minutes of action. And that's after he started the game completely scoreless in the opening quarter. Once he settled in though, he completely took over in the second. First, hitting a step-back 3 over Herb Jones, followed up by a Wemby miss, where he tested out his athleticism for an offensive rebound and a putback. Then, off an inbounds play, he catches the Pelicans napping, using his ridiculous burst of speed to quickly get all the way down the floor and hit a pull-up jumper. Later, off a high screen from Lindy Waters, he read Jose Alvarado leaning left, so he explodes right, uses 2 feet and an up fake, draws contact, and then finishes the play plus the foul. And then came the moment we've all been waiting to see. Wemby draws the double in the post and kicks it right back out to Fox, who knocks down the open 3. That's the play right there. The star-to-star connection. And that's just the start of what's going to come. You can already feel how their chemistry could take this team's offense and overall potential to a new stratosphere this season. Then, to top it all off, Fox gets himself into the post and hits a tough fader over the rookie Fears. Yep, in his first game back, he had a 15-point second quarter. I mean, that is a statement right there. But as great as the second quarter explosion was, it's what came next that really showed why Spurs fans have been waiting for this moment. Clutch buckets. Only a couple of years ago, Fox won the first ever Clutch Player of the Year award. And even if nobody really cares about that award, it's the perfect reflection of his game. He's calm, he's composed, and he often delivers when the lights get the brightest. That's exactly what this young Spurs team did not have just a couple of nights ago against the Lakers. Late in the fourth quarter, Fox stepped up, hitting a game-sealing floater, using a smooth step-through around Fears, and that's just the kind of shot that nobody else on this roster can really consistently make in the biggest moments. He just adds so much composure and direction for the group. For the first time all season, the offense just looked connected. It wasn't 5 guys just trying to make something work. It felt like team basketball, and the numbers back that up as well. In De'Aaron Fox's first game of the season, the Spurs had their best offensive rating so far, at a number of 126, which ranked in the 81st percentile league-wide. And yes, it's only one game, but somehow it doesn't really feel like a coincidence. It feels more like a preview of what's to come in big games against the best teams. This is exactly the kind of player you want the ball in the hands of, when you must have a bucket down the stretch. In this game, he didn't just score. He changed the rhythm of how the Spurs look to play offensively. And what's really interesting is how seamlessly he fit back in. There was some concern that Fox's return might disrupt the flow for the younger guys who had started to find their own rhythm. But it was actually the opposite in this one. We haven't seen him share the floor with Dylan Harper yet, who's still out with the calf injury. But when we're talking about his fit with Stephon Castle, not only did he not step on his toes, he actually made the game far easier for him. Stephon Castle played one of his best games of the season, totaling 14 assists and just 2 turnovers. You could see just how much more comfortable he looked. Fewer tough reads, easier passes, and just more freedom to play without as much pressure on him at the point of attack, because Fox takes the best guard defender now. And that's what makes everything so so promising. Castle and Wemby already have great chemistry, and now De'Aaron Fox is stepping into the mix. Once all of these new connections really start to click, and you add Dylan Harper back into the rotation, this offense could be something truly special. To complement a defense that's already great, to have 2 or even 3 guys eventually who can run the pick and roll with Wemby, that is going to be nightmare fuel against any other defense in the sport. Now that Fox is back, it isn't just about any one player. His return can potentially unlock everything around him, and that's where the bigger Spurs story is really starting to take shape. The spotlight goes back to Victor Wembanyama, because these last few games have shown us a lot about both his individual progress and how the rest of the league is trying to solve him. Over the first 5 games of this season, Victor Wembanyama was completely unstoppable. He was averaging over 30 points a night, nearly 15 rebounds, almost 5 blocks, and he was doing all of it on amazing efficiency. It wasn't just that he was putting up ludicrous numbers. It was the way he was doing it. Every night felt like a leap towards true superstardom. But then something shifted, and weirdly enough, it happened against a team that nobody expected to have a Wemby blueprint: the Phoenix Suns. That game ended up being somewhat of a turning point. The Suns did something that very few teams had really tried. They went small on him. Instead of throwing a traditional big at Victor, they used guys like Jordan Goodwin and Royce O'Neal, strong, undersized wings who could get right up into his body without having to worry about Wemby blowing on by. And it absolutely worked. They swarmed him with double teams on every touch, providing help from behind with their center while letting the smaller defender pressure the ball. Wemby just could not find any rhythm, finishing with just 9 points on 29% shooting while turning the ball over 6 times. Easily his worst game of the season. It was one of the first times in a really long time that we saw him legitimately looked flustered. He looked like a rookie again, rushing reads, forcing passes that weren't there, and really struggling with that physical pressure, forcing him into bad shots. It was a very frustrating loss for San Antonio that only got worse because of the Dylan Harper injury that also happened in that game. That Phoenix game was one that they absolutely should not have lost, but it revealed something that the rest of the league took notice to immediately, because just a couple of nights later, the Lakers tried the exact same formula, and it worked again. They rotated Rui Hachimura and Jared Vanderbilt on him, crowding him with quickness and strength. And whenever he tried to attack downhill, that help instantly arrived. The Lakers even baited him into a couple of offensive fouls, eventually getting him to completely foul out of the game. Once again, Victor's numbers were underwhelming: 19 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 turnovers. And it just felt like he was fighting the game instead of controlling it. 2 straight matchups where teams used an identical blueprint against him, and it equated to 2 Spurs losses. And a clear message to the rest of the league: this is how you can slow down Victor Wembanyama. But then came the Houston game, and this is where things started to really shift again. Wemby clearly studied the film and came in ready. The Rockets have some of the best defenders in the league for this kind of a matchup. Long, athletic wings like Amen Thompson, Tari Eason, and Josh Okogie, who love to swarm and get up under your skin. But this time, Victor looked a lot more in control. He wasn't forcing things, he wasn't panicking as much out of double teams, and he was able to finish with 22 points, 8 boards, and 4 assists on 50% shooting, while cutting down the turnovers to 4. Still not dominant by his standards, but it's a clear step forward in the right direction against one of the better defenses in the league. Now, to be clear, Houston's game plan still worked in moments. They definitely applied the pressure. They jumped on catches, and they forced a few sloppy turnovers. But Wemby's response was what mattered. He started to read the doubles more patiently and making the right pass out of them. That allowed guys like Harrison Barnes and Julian Champagnie to really step up. And that's when we really saw the Spurs offense start to flow once again. That's the big difference. Against Phoenix and the Lakers, he let the pressure dictate what he did. But against the Rockets, he dictated what the defense could and couldn't get away with. The fact that Champagnie and Barnes have been so effectively knocking down their three-point shots so far this season has been absolutely massive for the team, because outside of those two, they don't really have many consistent perimeter threats who can take a lot of that pressure off of Victor inside. Champagnie is shooting 38% from deep this season, while Barnes is hitting an incredible 50% from downtown. And I think this is what we're going to see from a lot of teams going forward, using smaller, quicker defenders on him who can get really physical and still stay in front, making Wemby really uncomfortable. And then when you add in the extra layer where the center can become the help defender on Wemby, I believe that's going to be the defensive formula for Wemby moving forward. But the adjustment is in Victor's hands. To beat it, he needs to continue to punish doubles by trusting his teammates and finding the open shooters, mixing in those inside attacks with calm decision-making out of the doubles. And if he's able to do that, he could tear down this blueprint. But for right now, I expect every team around the league to be using this game plan next time they play the Spurs. Overall, I don't think this stretch is really anything to worry about. It's all part of the process. The mistakes, the turnovers, the learning moments, all of this is 100% necessary. And this is where having De'Aaron Fox becomes so important. Someone who can get the ball to Victor in the right spots. Someone who can settle the game down when defenses start to swarm, and someone who can take advantage of the extra space when teams try to swarm Victor. And once Wemby and Fox truly start to figure each other out, I think San Antonio's offense and the ceiling of this team could really jump to an entirely new level. Before De'Aaron Fox came back, the Spurs had already shown us that they could compete. A 6-2 start without their all-star guard said a lot about their resilience and grit, but it also exposed some of their offensive flaws. Then came the Rockets win, and that game was a reminder of what this group is capable of, even when things aren't perfect. Against the Rockets, they pulled out a 121-110 win over one of the best rebounding teams in basketball by, ironically, dominating the glass. The Spurs grabbed 15 offensive rebounds and turned those into 33 second chance points. That is not just an effort. That's a team that refuses to be outworked. Wemby wasn't explosive in this one, but with the way he was able to control the game and stay calm, it really made a difference. But what really cannot be overlooked is how consistently devastating Wemby has been as a defender. Victor Wembanyama currently has the best defensive on-off numbers in the entire NBA, as when he's on the floor, the Spurs hold their opponents to an incredible 29.4 points fewer compared to when he's off the floor. That's a jaw-dropping mark that sits clearly in the 100th percentile league-wide. That's an absurd swing, and it shows just how game-changing his presence is on that side of the floor. But the story of the night might have been Stephon Castle. He's getting better and better every single game, and this may have been one of the best performances we've seen from him this season. 14 points, 6 rebounds, 13 assists, and 3 combined steals and blocks, and those numbers really only tell you half of the story. He ran the offense like a veteran, consistently finding Victor in his comfort spots, setting up Barnes and Champagnie for rhythm threes, picking up key stops on the defensive side of the floor, and attacking the space when Houston sent too much help towards Wemby. Castle is really turning into this do-it-all connector for the Spurs. A real Swiss Army knife who has the ability to hold everything together. The glue guy, if you will. And this wasn't a one-off either. For the season, Castle is giving you 18.4 points, 5.8 rebounds, 7.3 assists, and 1.9 steals per game, doing it all on 59% effective field goal shooting. Those are massive numbers for a second-year guard, and show you just how great he's been already for the San Antonio Spurs. Now they get to add in De'Aaron Fox into this mix, a guy who gives you more structure, more composure, and a legitimate late-game threat. Someone who you can give the ball to and trust to generate a good shot when you need one. On the season, the Spurs are now 7-2, undefeated at home, and they've already proven that they can win with defense, rebounding, and effort. Now they're adding space, rhythm, and a real closer. I mean, this team could really be a lot better than we all predicted. And because of that, the rest of the NBA must start paying close attention to the Spurs, because they're only getting started. And if you want to see another team that's making a great leap offensively, then you can check out my New York Knicks breakdown video right here, because their new look offense is quickly becoming one of the most dangerous systems in the league, and it is only getting better from here.